Okay, so on to our next guest already. Again, thank you all for participating. This is the inaugural World Toronto Forum presented by Unit. And it's just such a pleasure to connect with all these speakers, some of which, as you've seen, are very close friends of mine. And so is the next. This is an absolutely astounding experience for me because this is someone who's like a brother to me that I haven't connected to in a long time, also from the East Coast, and greatly represents the Canadian economy because a musician is definitely the bones of society, is at least in my view, because I think music is the resonance that keeps us afloat, whether you perform it, whether you listen to it. I think it's something of the human essence. So Chad Gaudett, thank you so much for being you. And it's so great to share the stage with you here today, man. How are you doing?
What's going on, man? It's good to see
Wow.
your face.
As with you, man, this is really cool for me. And honestly, I just feel like this is us, me, you, Billy, kind of just hanging out right now. But
Yeah,
we're providing value and insight to the people here. So again, thank you for all participating. Please feel free to ask your questions as you see fit. And Chad, just to give you guys a brief background before Chad does, he is from Nova Scotia. He's a musician, he's a singer, he's a songwriter, he's a guitarist. He's an absolute killer performer, and I've had the absolute pleasure to listen to him and his band Nothing Personal perform before live. And my goodness, what a show it was. They're electric, they have a sound, and Chad in particular has an X factor to him. You know, when you just see an artist, whether it be music, whether it even be in sports, whether it's literal art, there's an X factor, and let me tell you, Chad has it. So Chad, please tell us about your experience with Nothing Personal and your background as a whole.
wow. First, I just want to say how much I appreciate you inviting me on here. I've never been able to discuss I don't know what's in my mind around music and songwriting. So this is new to me, but again, I'm very excited. Um, First off, I guess my band Nothing Personal um, is no longer together, but we spent 4 or 5 years together making
Mhm.
music and performing live. Um, and it started, yeah, like four or 5 years ago. It was me, my friend Taylor Wheatley, um, and another good friend, Andre LeBlanc. Um, Taylor was another guitar player and singer, vocalist in the band, as well as a songwriter. And Andre played the drums. And we played as a three-piece for 3 years, um, until we wanted to expand our sound and invite a fourth member to take on bass, which was Patrick Ellis, who is another good friend of mine and incredible musician. Um, and we played in Halifax, and the music scene there is incredible. It's such a welcoming community, and I'm blessed to have experienced it and continue to see it and be a part of it, and make connections through music and playing live shows with other bands. It's really an incredible experience, and can be very emotional,
Mhm.
and I'm very grateful for that. Um,
It's been grateful for me. I'm the one that's thankful to be able to experience that and get a taste of that in Halifax. Because what's so cool about Halifax, as a side note, is that it's very tight knit because it's small with respect to a large city like Toronto, for example.
oh
But
yeah,
it still has large city resources, so it has a big lights, it has a big feel to it, big crowds, and when you perform, it's just my goodness, it just it brings everyone together.
yeah. Not that I have anything to kind of go by but Halifax, but I do believe it is very special. It's special to me, and it moves in a certain way. Like I said, such strong community, like especially music based. From like just bands starting out, there's really like a push for them to come on, and other bands give each other opportunity. Like, hey, I'm playing a show. We need some other bands, and with that forms connections, just by seeing someone on Instagram, realizing, hey, these guys play music, let's invite them on to play a show. And we've had many supportive people that, like, if it wasn't for others, we wouldn't have been able to play as many shows as we did or meet those connections. So again, it's just very, very like just connected, and
Hmm.
it's very special
Yeah.
experience.
I would say you can't put your hand on it, but it's so palpable. You just know that people are really vibing with the experience.
Yeah, there's an energy there, and
Yeah.
you can feel it for sure.
And I think it's also conducive to the Toronto economy because a lot of people who are talented, I think Toronto, if you want to stay in Canada at least, is the goal, if you may. It's kind of like the Hollywood of Toronto. You go to Toronto
Yeah.
and you made it for music. So everyone wants
Right.
to have that experience, and Toronto is this interconnected web of all those experiences.
Yes, yes, and I see it too with locals who decide to move on and kind of take over another area, which is, a lot of people go to Toronto just to further their goals and their passions. So,
Mhm.
thank God for Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's made up by it's only as big as the people who make it out to be. So it's great to have all this talent come together and share this space here. But I would love to hear on a personal your experience with forming a band. What was the inflection point at which you said, okay, I want to move forward with the band as to going solo? How did you know that you wanted to be a musician? Like what was this whole process growing up?
Um, well, I was blessed to be raised in a musical family. Like, my mother comes from a very big family, and music is very important. Like, almost everybody in my mother's side plays music. So even, when I was, uh, when my mother was like 8 months pregnant, she was on stage singing, and I was with
Wow.
her. And even as a young child, I was brought up, just making noises on a, little toy guitar, but I was always surrounded by it. Um, so not that it was, it was a decision, but it was kind of just in the blood, I guess. And it was only until I was probably 14, um, when I heard a song. It was Heartbreak Warfare by John Mayer. And I was with my cousin, and we were driving around, and the song came on, and it just, like, sonically, it just, I don't know, it made me feel something. It's hard to describe, but it's like the first
Hmm.
time I was moved by music. And
Sometimes
I'm
it's even more real when you can't describe it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I'm sure he was annoyed because I replayed it probably 10 times on the drive. And when I got home, I went online and I kept on listening to it. And it was then that I realized, this is something very important to me. Not, just like, oh, a hobby that I pick up on the side. It was something I felt I needed. And from there, I became really serious and just dedicated a lot of time to one, playing guitar. Um, and, I focused on that. And then in my later teens, I started trying to write songs and music. And it's a battle at first. For
Hmm.
me, my experiences, it wasn't easy, but I felt like I, had some things that I wanted to express. Just trying to figure out, you know, um, how to do so. And
And if I'm not mistaken, you started off with violin.
yes, when I was, I don't know, I was under 10.
Wow, that's baby chatty.
Um, but my instructor was more, Um, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Like very like educational based. Like um, look at the sheet music. You know, I kind of went by feel, and you know, my eyes would wander off to my hands, and you know, I was a young kid. You know, but he was more like a, I don't know, very, I don't know how to put it. I went more by like feel and kind of just wanted to go where it took me, but he was like, you know, check out the page, and that works for other people, right?
Yeah,
But that
for sure.
that that worked for me. You know, it's for me, it was something I needed to kind of figure out on my own, and
And so
yeah,
how's your, so sorry, go ahead.
and then from there, you know, I stopped violin for a few years, and then decided I wanted to pick up guitar, and family friends, you know, they would teach some lessons, so I went with them, and they're a lot more patient, I'll say. So maybe that was,
I see.
you know, it felt like I didn't have that much pressure. You know, it was more of a fun thing instead of my experiences learning violin.
I see. So how is your creative process in regards to writing? How has that evolved over time? Have you seen drastic shifts, or do you think that you've kind of just stayed true to what you initially learned?
Yeah, drastic shifts for sure. You know, as we get older, you know, we grow, we change, and I think,
Yeah.
you know, that for me, you can really see that in, you know, my sound. As the years go on, things change. You know, I mature, so does my playing or my writing. It's for me, it's very emotional. So, you know, if something is affecting me, you know, whether that's, you know, mentally or regards of, you know, maybe struggling with something at the time, um, I I can kind of free myself with music, and
Mm.
maybe if it's stuff I don't fully understand, but I feel, um,
It's as if the music's carrying it away from you.
yeah, it's kind of like untangling, or you know, I like to describe it as, I kind of capture it. Like, you know, I've had this feeling. I write a song that really resonates with how I'm feeling. I find like I capture that feeling, like I conquer it. I still have it, but it's like, you know, it's mine. I have it under control,
Yes.
and
That's something that no one can take away from you.
yeah, exactly. I feel like everyone has different methods of writing and playing, but thing is, you really gotta find what works for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, finding alone time to, you know, just go for a walk and think about things, and come back and kind of just work things out. It's kind of like a battle with yourself, the way I look at it.
Mhm.
Um, and it can be very freeing. It can be very frustrating at times too, but that's the beauty of it, you know?
Is is this battle between your rational mind and your creative mind, where you're trying to pick the right note based on what seems best, or rather than just what feels right in the moment?
Um, you know, it's all different. Like one night, let's say I sit down and something's flowing, you know, I'm writing some guitar parts, and then I feel like, you know, some words come to me that I write with it. You know, that's all, you know, in that moment, in that night. You
Hmm.
know, but as the days go on and I work on it, you know, it it will change within the days, instead of just all in on that one feeling, that one.
Yeah, it's not all being created in one night.
Yeah, it's like, the next day it's like, okay, my emotion, or, I was feeling this type of way, quite strongly. The next day it's like, oh, well, let's look back on that. How do I really feel?
Yeah.
And
There's a really interesting conversation to be had there between when you see the amalgamation of what the song ends up being. You hear it as if, of course, it's one song, it's all in unison, it's one project, but from the artist's perspective, it's actually broken up into so many various parts, and it could be various parts of your lives, because one song, as we've just mentioned, isn't made in a night, could be made even over a year. So you take in what someone was feeling in January with respect to June for maybe the same song, or what was going on in their lives within these respective times, and they're being expressed through the music at that given point in the song, whether it's the melody, whether it's the bridge, the intro, whatever the case may be. And it's really cool just to hear from an artist themselves to pick that apart and say, look, it's well crafted, it's well curated, but this is all a conglomeration of just feeling. An essence. It's an internal concept.
yeah, it's a very beautiful thing. And, you know, um, another really cool aspect about that is, uh, it can mean, for listeners, they can interpret, what they think it means, or what the words and the sounds mean to them. Um, and but with the artist, it could mean like something totally different, something they
Mhm.
went through, so it's not so black and white. It's very open for anybody, right? Anybody can take whatever they want out of a song, an album, and it be completely different as somebody else.
Yeah,
And that is just so beautiful to me.
yeah, it's true, and it just means, and the meaning doesn't get diluted just because it's not reflective of the meaning you placed on it, right?
Exactly.
However someone else wants to interpret it, that's their right, of course, and that's what you made them feel, which is, I think, just such a great way to, it's, we're transcending communication in a way. And that's why I find music in and of itself so powerful. But please take us through the process of writing for a band. Of course, you have other minds at play, other concepts, timelines. um Taylor Wheatley is joining the call, who is also your bandmate. Would love to hear
Oh,
even
is
some
he?
thoughts from his as well. But this is his the bass player from Nothing Personal, who has just joined in. Hello, Taylor. Such an honor to have you guys join this together and take us through this experience with Nothing Personal. The question that I was just asking Chad was, take us through the experience between writing with a band where you have a bunch of minds at play, with respect to writing on your own time.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to correct. Taylor was starting off. He was a bass player, but then as
I
he became guitar player, I just wanted to clear that
Oh,
up.
for sure. He does it all.
Um, well, for the band, I think that's kind of where I first started writing music, because we started a band, and I never thought, that's all I kind of thought of. Like, then when we started, there was nothing in mind of like a solo or anything. It was just for the band. So uh, with Nothing Personal's experience, it was mainly, I would come up with something on my own, either like a full song or half a song, um, and then bring it to the band, and we kind of feel it out, and um, everybody kind of listens and adds what they feel they need to add to it. So and there'd be discussion between us, but like for the most part, it was either I wrote a song or Taylor wrote a song. We bring it to the band, um, and then from there, kind of just figure out what works. You know, bass player finds his rhythm, the drummer, the other guitarist, finding harmonies, and with that, you know, um, it's pretty cool because if I wrote a song, by myself, I just have my guitar and I'm singing along. Um, and I can, I'm like, okay, this is what this sounds like to me. But then bringing it to the band and then adding drums and adding bass and guitar and like, different perspectives. And it kind of turns it all around into something completely different. Not different, but it's very eye-opening. Like something that I wouldn't have imagined it get to, but then all these other creative people join in, and we create something new, and it's really cool. And like I'm sure the same thing goes for Taylor, and with that, there could be uh, things maybe you don't agree with, oh, I would have liked it to go this way, and it's good to express those things. But at the end of the day, we looked at it as we're all a team. Let's find compromise and find, you know, the right, um, the right groove of it all to present and what we're all happy with. And, as, for writing solo, that's kind of all on you. And there's a lot more creative freedom, but at the same time, a lot more pressure as well.
I see.
Playing with nothing personal, I felt like I had a team behind me, especially playing live. Very nerve wracking, before going up. But I felt, like I felt strongly about what I was playing as well as my team by my side. So it's very, you know, I felt I feel very close to all these all my brothers
Yeah,
because
oh, of
of what
course.
we went through. Playing live, writing music, like a lot of time was spent all together.
It's a
Uh,
unique bond.
yeah, yeah, and we decided to split because Taylor actually got accepted to medical school.
So it's all his fault. I see.
Yeah,
No, of course. We wish
all of
him
us,
the best always. That's incredibly exciting.
Yeah, I think we'll always have that time in memory, but
Of course.
we're all kind of moving on to different things. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah, that's more than fair, and everyone wants to conduct a lifestyle that they see most fit for themselves, and sometimes think that there are things that take that have a time and a place, and it could be a short amount of time, could be a long amount of time, but that doesn't dilute how meaningful it was when you did so.
yeah, yeah. It's a very vulnerable place, sharing music, because I know for myself and Taylor, it comes from a very personal and emotional place. So finding people that you can, sit down and share, hey, I have this rough song that I've been working on. It's very special that you can find someone, you know, and you're comfortable enough to share that vulnerability with, and like vice versa, being that
Hmm.
person that someone can share that with, and then you know push on to like show other people. And yeah, it's
It has such a communal effect,
yeah,
and it's more than just what you're thinking about at the moment. It really it moves worlds because it makes people feel things, and it means something to different people. And I'm curious. I would assume at least that more often than not, when you're writing a new track, especially with a band where you do have these many minds at play, it actually turns out much differently than initially expected.
yeah, yeah. you know when I write a song, for me it's just a guitar and vocals, and I can kind of hear ways that I would want it to go with the band. um, but then actually bringing it to the band and having their minds put their craft on it, it can, like, oh, I never thought of it going into this, but now that I'm hearing it, let's keep moving with that, like
Yeah,
keep, moving with the flow.
for sure.
um, and it again, like, it can be a little stressful, like, oh, I'm not sure I want it to go that way, but at the same time it's like, oh, I never thought about it going that way.
Mm.
Thank you for kind of opening my
For
mind.
giving just that slight push to say, actually, this
Yeah,
is what this can become.
yeah, exactly.
Wow,
It's
that's incredibly
very
exciting.
it's very freeing, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow, that's truly beautiful, and I just feel like there's so much to unpack when it comes to writing music, and everyone, as you've alluded to, has their own style and their own way of going about it, and it's on the responsibility of the artist, of the musician, to find what that is, to be able to share what they're feeling in such a visceral level, in the most accurate way possible. And
Yeah.
you're communicating. You literally are just communicating through a new form. So just to even tie this back to our space here at Unit with blockchain, the thing with blockchain is that it's highly predicated on transparency and sovereignty, so ownership and openness. And I'm very curious, with your experience performing as a band and writing songs, did you ever come across any issues in regards to your own rights and how to distribute it, and having any collision with potential labels or people that wanted to take the rights to the music at the offering of being able to give you the resources?
um no, I never say, I wouldn't say we really got that far that that was something to worry about.
Because
But
typically that's what the process would be. Of course, you sign with a label, they offer the resources, the marketing, the production, but they retain the rights. And this is how music has gone on for a while. And now with the with the expansion of streaming services, people have been able to just take it upon themselves, but are still getting caught into these loops,
yeah,
because they may not have ownership, and when they eventually get to a point where they find it's necessary to still have to sign to a label, right? It's still kind of like the end goal, I guess, for when it comes to the conventional way of making it in the industry. So what we're trying to do here is solve the issue by creating these tokens, where we have a music token, for example, that's supposed to be an index of the music token economy on our platform, where each individual or each artist, each musician will be able to create their own token, and that's the peer-to-peer communication. So when you sell tokens to your community, your token holders may have early access to your content. They might have rights to exclusive content. They may have rights to even creating the new the new album cover, for example. It becomes much more in unison with your audience. It's much more collaborative in that sense, and it's direct to consumer, peer to peer as well, where you're providing that information. So I'm curious just what your thoughts are and what that would be like in this new age economy where we're seeing the stakeholder economy grow. Do you think that you guys would have benefited at an early stage, or do you think that that is more for an evolved band that is touring at a global scale?
no, um you ran it by me, like, everything you just explained, and I think that's so cool. It's going to be a new way for musicians to just open doors,
Hmm.
and you know find
To
other
the
people to
Yeah,
to find opportunity. And for us, you know or at least for me, if I go about like distributing music, I would probably just want it to be on my own, um you know rather than finding a label and worrying about all that right now. I'd try to get as far as I could by my own means. And, you know, with the platform, I think that's really taking control of your craft and um, being able to do what you truly want to do with your craft and sharing with others, um, rather than being kind of lost and not knowing where to go or what to do, you know, as far as like, um, creating music, distributing, advertising. Um,
Raising capital on your own behalf, not having to rely on a third party, and as you said,
oh
meet
yeah, of
meet new
course.
people, because now you've developed a community and now you're more in tune with that community. They're not there's no wall between you and the community. It's literally just you cooperating directly with them, and they get to make decisions on the direction as well, because they have an ownership in the form of a token of your work, which just makes it so empowering for the individual as well,
Oh yeah,
for the consumer.
it's a whole new world,
Yeah.
and I think you're going to see a lot of great things come from it. Um,
hmm
and
It's like you literally get to invest in the stock of your favorite artists.
yeah,
That's what the token gets to do. Except with a stock, you can't really do much with it. It's just an investable asset. Now with the tokens, you can actually you get perks for owning the token. You can use them on let's say your unit platform for another service if they're willing to accept that particular token. There's just so many different ways to go about that, and it's only built up by the people who make it. So artists such as yourselves, and that's why it's so great to have this conversation here to see, what does the artist care about, and what would it look like for them to build this economy, because it's not something for us to decide on. It's for the people who actually build the tokens themselves, and artists I think are a massive segment for this, especially because there are already ownership rights involved, and issues in
yeah.
in the music industry, right? Please share with us any last thoughts, stories that you may have. If I'm not mistaken, I know you have a little bit of a sample to share with us. I'm not sure if that's still in the works. If so, we would absolutely be thrilled to hear it. And yeah, please take it away, Chatty G.
Um, yeah, I mean, do we have time?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now is actually supposed to be a break. We have our last speaker, which is coming on in 28 minutes.
Okay.
There's a slight change in the schedule, so this is now the new break period. So please, you have as much time as you'd like. And again, any final stories, ideas, insights, or just words of wisdom that you may share with new emerging artists, we're all open ears. And among that, if you would be willing to share a sample of your work as well, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, I have a song I can play.
Please.
Runs at about 5 minutes, if
Oh,
that's
I'm sure we'll be here. I for sure will be, and please, for those who are participating, we thank you for attending, and please show your support for Chad here.
thank you. Well, again, before I get into it, I just want to say thank you very much for having me on. It's really great to talk to you again. I'm
My
sure we'll
man,
soon.
my man. Oh yeah, it feels like it's just we're hanging out, right? And
I
that's what's so cool about this experience. Thank you for sharing all this. It's really sentimental.
know. But yeah, I guess, back to songwriting. For anybody out there who's interested in doing that, just really find what works for you. Especially in the past few years, I've, you know, had trouble kind of finding what works for me when it comes to songwriting. But alone time for me is very important for that kind of, you know, I guess soul searching in a way, just kind of um, finding yourself and, without any outside influence, just really taking the time to be with yourself. And, you can find out some great things, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you for that.
yeah. So this song I wrote a few years ago, but I decided to play because I figured a softer song would be better on a Zoom call.
We're getting a vintage version. I like it.
But yeah, it's been a while since I played this one, so it might be a little rough. But it's called "You're Gone, Wake Up."
It's going to be magical. Thank you.
Can you hear that all right? All right. wash away my fears, tear me apart to find out what you want to hear. I watch you fall asleep. I wake up and you're gone, 'cause you're not mine to keep. Someone's waiting home. And I will forget you if you give me a chance. And I will resent you, but I knew that was part of your plan. You say talk is cheap, but words are hard to find. You show me what you mean. Your body shakes with lies. Bus is on its way. She's walking on alone. My memory she takes, I can't replace. These foggy days. Gather up some change. Take a quarter now. 3 more in the same night to knock me out. Knock me out. And I will forget you if you give me a chance. And I will resent you, but I know that was part of your plan. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was truly beautiful. I was moving to the rhythm, moving to the beat every step of the way. You feel that deeply. My goodness, you know when it comes from the heart, even if even if it's through a Zoom call, you still feel it. So thank you so much for serenading us, and that was that was truly from the soul, my man. You said it throughout your talk. That's what matters. That's how you create, and that's what you've just shown us here. So thank you, truly. It's such a blessing to be able to experience that. You're getting a lot of praise here. A lot of people saying it's beautiful and mesmerizing. And
Thank you.
just want to say that this is the impact that you make. This is the impact that music makes, and this is what kind of community that it builds. This is why we need to stay true to our human nature.
I think so too. Yeah, and thank you so much for letting me be able to share a song of mine. It's that's
Dude,
that's
it's the least I can do. It's I'm the one that's flattered, honestly, and to be able to experience this, I haven't been able to hear you perform at all for so long. We haven't seen each other in a while, so this is really special to me, and very special to our audience here. So thank you for sharing that with us. We have people from all across the globe who have tuned in, and thank you for providing them with a serenade just before the holidays, exactly what they need. And we have his former bandmate now, but still, nonetheless, still a bandmate. Taylor Wheatley is also in this call. And Taylor, if you have anything that you'd like to add, please feel free to do so. But this is awesome, man. This is just absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, man. It's great to see you.
So great to see you. Do you have any last notes, anywhere people can find you, if you'd like to throw either in the chat or just notify them right now?
Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram at IamChatty_G, I believe. And I believe my Twitter is the same. If you want to give me a follow or reach out, have any questions or just want to talk, I'm always free. So
Yeah, he's very open. So please do not hesitate to reach out to him. He welcomes everyone with truly open arms. And we have a question from Vanessa here who asks, "Where's the single to listen to again? Can we listen to that, or is that only in your archive?"
It's only my archive right now, but I should have some things coming in 2022.
So much still in the works.
Yeah, things are in the works.
Wow. Well, we're looking forward to hear it. As you can see, there's a lot of people who want to check it out. But yes, I think that closes off this talk. We've been communicating here for a little bit. Thankfully, it was just before a break session, so we're able to extend it these few minutes. So thank you again to our participants for holding on here and really just getting involved. We have one last speaker. We've run for almost 6 hours now. It's been a fulfilling and a fruitful conference. So thank you so much for being part of it and sharing this experience with us. To learn more about Unit, please head to unit.foundation, gives more insight on the token economy. All of these talks will be on our YouTube, which is just Unit in caps, and it should be up in the next few weeks or so. So Chad, thank you so much. We have one last speaker who is also a musician right here from Toronto, and he's going to be talking about artist branding. He's the founder of an organization called 1010 Entertainment, where he helps bring exposure to artists and provide them with the resources necessary to thrive, whether that be advertisement like billboards or video production, or just a community to build and grow with. So we'll have him in just actually about 15 minutes here. So we're very close. Any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll be able to get to them. So thank you, Chad. We'll be in contact for sure, as we always are.
Talk soon.
Love you, my man. Thank you.